water in them, and you find them, they are flooded. So Karamoja, the poverty rates, when you look at statistics from UBOS, are at 66%. That is 3 times the national poverty rates of this country. Now, this is the first time in 3 years that we are seeing all the 9 districts of Karamoja having famine. And when we talk about the 9 districts, we're referring to Abim, Amdat, you look at Kabong, Karen, Kotido, you have Moroto, Nabilatuk, Nakapiripit, and also Napak. That all 9 districts this time are facing this problem of lack of food. There are factors. We know the usual challenge of rainfall in Karamoja, and we must say due to climate change, rainfall patterns have changed over and over. That is why we see global conferences, COP26, calling for attention in terms of climate change. That if in Central today, they'll tell you things are not as what they used to be, then what would a semi-arid area be of this country? But this time around, one of the biggest factors that has worsened this situation is the cattle rustling and cattle raiding. Because Karamajongs are not so much into cultivation, Philo. They depend so much on their livestock. I was in Karamoja for about 3 months under NUSAF, under the Office of the Prime Minister, with Martin Okumu was the communication manager. By then, that was NUSAF too. And I had 3 months of understanding Karamoja. One thing I observed is a Karamajong and cow, or their cattle, are inseparable.
Yes.
They may not kill these cows regularly, often, but they feed from the blood of these animals. They feed from the milk these animals give them. A typical Karamajong may take long to have a meal, but they're having milk. You know, they're having the blood. This is how they will prepare their meal. So recently, we had a new wave of what we can call cattle rustling. Because for the Karamajongs, cattle rustling was there. You know, it was an activity where a young man will go get, and it was somehow like a game over time. But what is happening recently, that's why you even saw His Excellency going camping, is theft mixed with issues of raids. That where cows would be stolen and are left within the 9 districts. You know, cows are stolen from here, but you know, they are going to maybe 3, 4, 5 villages. Cows are stolen and transported out of this region. So, where they would be stolen, and maybe I raid Philo, I bring to my home, therefore there is food. Today, I'm raiding. There are those that raid the cows, there are those that transport them to other parts. So this has worsened, because even what they would rely on to eat is no longer there, because climate change impact has always been there. Then also COVID-19, if there is any region it hit, is Karamoja. Why? Not because they had COVID-19 cases, but if there is any part of this country I've been to and I've seen a lot of non-government organizations, then it is Karamoja. You would wonder vehicles that bypassed you. All names of non-government organizations. This time around, most of these non-government organizations, we must know they depend on the donor community. So their budgets were cut. They were cut. And that meant that most of the programs in Karamoja, feed the hungry, do this, watch out and all that, these were not able to carry on with their work in this area, because the donors were donor countries were hit so severely by COVID-19. So they couldn't pass on these monies. So cattle rustling, and I want to say that in quotes, because I believe it's not actually what is happening is not the cattle rustling that the Karamojongs will tell you.
Yes.
And COVID-19 come and worsen the problems. Many non-government organizations are now pulling out. International bodies, it is just in September this year, where we saw, that is September last year, sorry, where we saw the World Food Program. We saw Food and Agriculture Organization that is launching a program or a project that is named Pro-Resilience Action Project, PROACT, that is aimed at ensuring that it helps these people be able to absorb some of these food shocks But most of these other organizations had pulled out because they lack sustainability. And Karamoja for a long time has depended on non-government organizations, has depended on these international bodies, world bodies, to feed them, because that is the situation they're in. They don't have the rain. When it comes, it's too much. And livestock has been their way of living. Now, if you take the cattle away, you take the aid away, that is why you see the situation has reached its worst.
Well, I really like that, but also considering that we're using terms as worsening, it means that the situation hasn't been really good for quite a long time, even before this COVID-19 came in. But maybe to pick from you, Felix, why? Because I know government has come in with some interventions, okay? I don't know how we can rate their performance on especially realizing their goal, because the whole goal is to make sure that there is food security, especially in this region. So why are we seeing the efficacy is still lacking? And I'm saying this because, like I said earlier on, it's not something that has just come in, it's just worsening. Last year I said it was starting at about 30%. Right now we are standing at 40%. So what is not right with the government intervention plans? We have a whole ministry for Karamoja region. Why are we still not realizing the goal?
Yeah, and tell you what, that even as we talk about food right now, the breakout of COVID-19 also brought a new realization of the appreciation of food as a state asset. Away just from being casual discussion, we have food, but the realization of the availability of food, and generally food, as a wealth of any other country. One of the reasons why you see guys in Sri Lanka all over the streets is because there's no food. Yes. If you remember here, when we had issues in terms of bread and what, it became an issue. It became an issue now. Before, you've seen...
bread overthrew a government.
Absolutely, thank you so much. You've seen empires fall because of food. You remember, some of you who did history, here I talk about Marie Antoinette and all these kind of things. It is precedented the effect of lack of food, what we call most recently famine, that has a big effect on any political administration. And no wonder this discussion shouldn't be taken lightly. Yes. It may be a regional challenge, as today we speak, but because of the continuous behaviors of, by the way, the major players in terms of food, and I want to use the word food generally, the government has been primary, yes, the citizens being equally semi-primary, but also the other institutions. Robert was talking about, you can talk about private sector as being the major players. Now, if these three parties do not appreciate the value of food in any country, we have challenges like this. People are talking about Karamoja loosely. They are talking about the weather, and which is true. It is valid. Robert has given you some of the causes: weather, talk about the cattle rustling, you talk about issues like COVID-19. But all these things have been known challenges. The weather in Karamoja didn't start 2 years ago. I think it's been like that for quite some time. It's, yes. and it even has a definition that Robert said, semi-arid. So that means, and there are many other places which are like that elsewhere in the world. Absolutely. Okay? Now, that means that shouldn't be a challenge for us to speak about now. But what are the interventions from the primary bodies, starting with government being the custodian of any other form of interventions in this country? What have been government interventions over time in this region, in terms of them building capacity for the region, to have a sustainable flow of food, for example? How is government assisting these people? What can be done where they are? This that we see in Karamoja is about to go many other places in Uganda. If we are still focusing on the challenges, yes, if we give the challenges a higher place in the beacon, that because there was COVID, trust me, other places were also equally hit by COVID. In terms of the weather, other places are equally having the same weather challenges. But we must consolidate as a country to have what truly is defined as food security. And how can we do this? Let's look at And for me, I've noticed over time, even from research that I've been privileged to be part of, the issue of wastage in this country. Storage. When you go, I don't like to use comparisons of other countries, but I'll speak in the context of where we are and how we can do it. One, what is the sensitization, or I don't want to talk about education levels in these regions.
Yes.
How are people knowledgeable about food?
They
Or
don't
let's
even
talk about
necessarily
general
have
knowledge.
to be in school, yes.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about general knowledge. How available is knowledge about health, hygiene, you know, feeding? How available is this knowledge? If people are feeding on cow blood and milk in this region, it means that, and Robert brought it out clear, that the major focus of the people in this region is not farming. So they expect food to fall from heaven like manna.
Their cows, once they are there, they have food.
Okay, now what has happened?
The cows are being stolen.
Sustainability. That how are we helping these people understand sustainable processes of having food? It's okay to have cows. Let me tell you, I don't think the Kejongs have more cows than the people in the West. I don't want to believe that. Because we all know here, in as much as the guys in that region have cows, there are people who have more cows. But they're also doing, now as I'm saying, I think the absence, for me, in trying to understand this problem, is that the absence of the right information, the failure of institutions, and not only government, but other institutions which are primary to this cause, failing to transcend this community beyond just being herdsmen.
Actually, these are not herdsmen, they are pastoralists.
Okay, yeah. Call them pastoralists. Now, that brings the other saying that we used to hear. We will not wait for that particular region to
develop.
And it sounded like it was a mimic, but now the reality is showing.
Yes.
That as the country has transcended into so many other things, value addition, all these other types of farming, a particular region has been left out in terms of the right information. Let me tell you, government cannot have interventions that can help a region or a particular population. It is the people that must be empowered to have their own solutions. Because government cannot give food to this particular region continuously.
It's not sustainable.
Year out, year in, year out, year in. The only thing they can do is to give a bit of emergency relief. But if we are going to discuss a particular solution for this problem, we must look into empowering the region, giving them the right information, giving them the right tools, giving them the right everything they need.
Yes.
For example, tell them about why, like for example, in Uganda here, some of us who have lived our lives here. One, there are foods that grow in short term, there are foods that grow in long term.
Yes.
Here, Lumonde, sweet potatoes take 4 months to 6 months. You're already eating food. Cassava, same period. Now you plant a banana, you have a banana, you have to wait for about 1.5 years to 2, or even 3 or more. Here you have these greens. Like, do they have the right information? Now someone talk about the weather and the soil. Those are no longer problems in the 21st century. So let us empower this region if we have the goodwill, and generally as a government, because our mandate is that, so they can sustainably, because they have the manpower.
Yes.
You get it. Most of their children are roaming all over the streets asking for money. And let's empower the region. Let's give them the ability to solve their own problem sustainably. That's what I think, honestly.
Worsening famine situation in Karamoja is the topic of conversation, and we still want to hear from you. What do you think would be the best way to deal with this, especially in the Karamoja region? What should be done to solve the worsening famine situation in the Karamoja region? Now, Robert, Felix did talk about sustainability, but what else are we looking at that could be a tangible solution? Apart from the traditional challenges that you did talk about, and we've all agreed that, I mean, we can't be talking about all these. I know there are new challenges that come up, and we have to keep up with the times. You know, they're dynamic. But what else could we do apart from the sustainability that is going to help, you know, for the long term? What else can we look at right now?
I want to start by telling you that government of Uganda has had a number of interventions in Karamoja, Actually, I remember when the First Lady, Jane Kataham Museveni, was appointed Minister for Karamoja Affairs, I was able to visit Karamoja, and I want to tell you there was so much that was being done on ground. But the biggest challenge has been mindset change. You know, when you talk about mindset change, it doesn't only target the local people. I see many officials think it is the poor, it is the vulnerable that need mindset change.
Yes.
But even people that draft these programs need mindset change. I was privileged to be among the few journalists that was sent by government through the Office of the Prime Minister to camp in Karamoja and assess government programs under NUSAF 2, because NUSAF 1 had had a number of problems. And Philo, what I discovered there were tears.
What
you know?
Yes.
Where government has planned a dam, bore a hole, has given, there was a program, restocking, had done all this. My God. You'd, on paper, because this is what they did, we were under Martin Okum, they would give you a car. Each of the journalists. We had a van that took us, then they tell you, Robert, this is the person, these are the government projects. Go and find out if these projects were done. We had security, we had vehicles, we had all the resources. And what we would discover, you would go and meet a cow. Actually, even one of us survived assassination. It wasn't easy because people were meant to have delivered, but they hadn't. It was a shock that you reach a person's office, you say this village, there's supposed to be a borehole, you find nothing.
Yes.
They were supposed to purchase this number of cows for restocking. It is almost a quarter of the cows that were purchased.
Funds were readily available
who was
for them?
supposed to purchase when you said they were
Funds,
supposed?
government, through the office of the Prime Minister. Not the
So it was the,
they had,
the people in Prime Minister's office.
the way NUSAF was working, they had set up committees that these people, so it had technical officials from the ministry, but also the bright Kejongs. Some that had gone to school, you know, when you go and you look for community people.
The ones who would actually relate.
Yeah,
with
that
the
would elect
neighbors?
the chairman of our NUSAF committee, or this, or that. So, one of the things is that all this government, we need mindset change. That people can appreciate that when you're given duty to fulfill, you must. We need very serious deterrent measures in terms of corruption and abuse of office. When Felix talks about today, I'm seeing government planning to give seeds to these people and all these interventions. Many of what they are doing now is not new because it has been done in this region. But the biggest question has been, why hasn't it been able to transform this region? I said there is no area I've seen non-government organizations more than it is in Karamoja. But what are all these doing? So as long as we still do not go against corruption and abuse of office, whatever initiatives, as long as we don't go back and look at mindset change, understand, you know, sometimes I feel people plan for people they don't understand very well. Who is a Kajong? You know, who is a Kajong? If you want to transform them.
A Kejong is a Kejong.
No, it's different from people from the West. You're making these comparisons, yes.
Yeah.
You know, we have what we call culture.
Yes.
If I'm going to tell Philo and Felix about something, it is different than what I'm going to speak to it about maybe a traditional practitioner or what.
Yes.
Because you're elite, you're sensitized. You can even use Google. So when you're going to this part of the country that has spent so much into this life, how do you bring them things that are practical, applicable to them? Not sitting and saying, okay, they better go and go, we take seeds. Okay, they need this. No. First, the people you're sending are wrong people because they don't deliver. If they deliver halfway. Second, who are you using? These people have elders. They respect elders like nothing. So what is your channel of causing this transformation into? Otherwise, if you're looking for sustainable solutions, they must be involved, and you must have the right people take these this message and whatever you're planning to them. NUSAF, I told you, we left, we had reports, you're scared. Am I giving this report to the right person? Because I may submit to the cow who was part of this theft. So these are the challenges that Karamoja is facing.
Well, we could talk and talk and talk, but one thing for sure is that food security is really prime in an economy. You know, if the country doesn't have food, you will see what they call chaos. That's when you will know how intense it can be. So at the end of the day, it's very important that anyone and everybody can access food, and also the country has to make sure that the sustainability is there, food security is there. Everything is necessary for people to actually, you know, get this food. It does quite a whole lot. You would never know unless you're there. Now, I am sure that somebody from one of the regions that is really worst hit by famine right now, they will tell you a different story. And there are very many people who still take it for granted. People who waste a lot of food. It's very sad, by the way, when you see families throw away this food. But at the end of the day, you need to be humane and you need to come back to your senses, because what is happening over there is definitely coming to your, to your region if, of course, you're not really careful and you're not cautious. Reminding you about our poll question, definitely it's still running. The conversation is up and about, so let us know what you think in line with what should be done to solve the worsening famine situation in the Karamoja region. We're going in for the press review. We'll be looking at the big headlines in the Daily Monitor, the New Vision, and of course, at the Daily Nation. We'll be back after this break.
We bring you a fresh, well-researched program to help you identify opportunities for investment, job creation, growing your entrepreneurial skills, wealth creation, and social transformation.
We have a product that is ready for schools, supermarkets.
Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Every week, we showcase opportunities for creating new products and services.
I now harvest a lot of cocoa. When I harvest it, I sell. After selling, I put money in my project. I have two projects. One is for construction of my house, two is for educating my children.
Excellence in innovation, the passion and drive to succeed, and the right mindset to grow your business. Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Brought to you by Operation Wealth Creation.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Ginger Tea drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
What's happening in the papers? The Daily Monitor, the big story, Mubaje's fate hangs by a thread. And of course, the man who has been at the helm of the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council for 2 decades could be on free fall. That story, catch it on page 4 of the Daily Monitor this morning. But still looking at the CAF president, Mosepe, flies in tomorrow. And of course, I expect quite a lot of good things and good discussions that will be coming in from the Confederation of African Football President, Patrice Thopane Mosepe, who will be visiting Uganda for 2 consecutive days. And the lives of Sunday car crash victims. Now, about that sad happening that happened at the Nakawa railway crossing. They're giving you the details in the obituary section. Karuma fails another completion deadline. Well, why, how, who is responsible for all this? These details you can catch in the Daily Monitor. Looking at Makerere opening government scholarship to 4,000 students. Well, it depends, apparently, according to the leader, the lizard, he says depends on who the godfather is. Probably that's how you'll be gaining or being part of the beneficiaries of the scholarship. Well, we're yet to find that out. Police seal off home officers of killed Bokwo cow, and this is the chief administrative officer. You can still catch this story still in the Daily Monitor. And Kitgum market set for commissioning. Well, I think this is something worth celebrating, having another market officially getting into business. Onto the second page. 4,000 continuing students to apply for government sponsorships. Now, this is again the full-on story right from page 1. Taking you back in time, today in history, Catholic priests returned to Uganda. The year was 1885. And still in history, largest tank battle in history ends. 1943 was the year when this happened. Catch the full-on details of all these historical makings in the Daily Monitor this morning.
Well, also, you can get yourself a copy of the New Vision and some of the top stories right there. Senior officers get salary increment. That is talking about the UPDF right there. A full story on page 7, but also the big headline, mandatory reskilling for all teachers. Shillings 8 billion have been released for this program. Details are on page 5 of the New Vision. New tax penalties shake businesses. Well, that is also a full story on page 3. Ogola on Kenya Polls Observer Team. They get you more details on that. That is on page 33. But also a big picture right there. They're giving you Uganda to host the next Pan-African Congress. Of course, with President Yoweri Museveni with the Executive Council of the Global Pan-African Movement. That was at State House in Tebe, in that picture right there. Crossing over to the second page, urban refugees to benefit from shillings 114 billion skilling projects. Those are opportunities right there. Of course, giving you a platform for vendors in Uganda in partnership with some of the International Rescue Committee. And that is all detailed in the New Vision. Also giving you insights on the parish development model. The graft-free PDM will boost economy. Still a lot of details on that. And also today in history, they take you back in 1993. Attorney General comes under fire. And of course, also taking you back in 1999, Zimbabwe Corps tear gas veterans. Of course, that is also right there for you in the New Vision.
The Daily Monitor sports this morning, PNG back Uganda. And of course, in the English Premier League, we're looking at Eric Ten Hag enjoying a winning start as Man United manager, as 3 first-half goals set up a superb 4-0 rout of rivals Liverpool in Bangkok. And if you're a fan of what is happening in the ICC T20 World Cup qualifier, well, 2 of the 4 semi-final spots in these qualifiers have been sealed after Zimbabwe and USA made it to 2 wins from 2 yesterday. Now in Group B, Netherlands outmuscled Hong Kong to remain in pole position for a semi-post. And looking at Morocco threatening Nigeria territory as a knockout stage kicks off. All this and more in the Monitor Sports section.
Now, what is inside the New Vision for this morning's sport? What lies ahead for the Uganda Crested Cranes? Now, of course, that is after what is happening with the AFCON. And also, the New Vision Sport gives you Rugby Cranes plot for the Commonwealth Games. I'll give you a picture right there of President Museveni flagging off the Rugby Sevens with a captain Wakorach right there. But also across the World Athletic Championship, off to the US with hope. We're talking about Oregon 2022, giving you Joshua Cheptegei right there, Uganda's distance runner, and of course more of the athletes expected for the Commonwealth Games right there for you in the New Vision Sport for this morning.
The Daily Nation this morning, we're looking at Decision 2022 Uhuru. I was soft, but Karua will jail thieves. And of course, in City Rally, the president admits that he chickened out on dealing with thieves and other crooks in his government, but promises that, well, Raila's running mate will do the dirty job if elected to office next month. Okay, and Uhuru Ruto division spill to Parliament and cancelled. Of course, Speaker Justin Motun's attempt to recall Parliament is scuttled at the last minute. Still giving you more details of that story. You can, of course, catch it on the other pages of this paper. Now, Sakaja and Igathe duel ignored the real issues. Quite a report that is coming in this morning. And another court throws away a petition against Nairobi Senator's bid. Of course, looking at also 15 women raped in Nairobi every day, according to a study that was released. And of course, land saga that cost Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor his job. We're looking at Professor Wainaina stuck out his neck and fell. Page 10 of the Daily Nation. And MPs to return millions paid irregularly. We're looking at about 460 million Kenyan shillings that have been recovered yet. Well, the Daily Nation is on fire as well this morning, so grab yourself a copy to catch up on all that. And of course, our poll question is also still running, where we want to find out from you, especially in relation of what could be done to reduce the worsening famine situation in the Karamoja region. But also in the traffic updates this morning, I want to draw my focus on areas in Makindia division. I'm looking at areas like Bukasa, Muyenga, Gaba Road, Kansanga, Chiwafu and Namongo, of course, as you're headed all the way towards the city center. But I could really start off with Kalungu and, of course, Gaba Road. Kalungu this morning shouldn't be a worry for you, especially seeing that most of the roads here are painted in green. So you can clearly navigate this road depending on where you're going anyway. It shouldn't be really a big problem. However, Gaba Road, some parts of it are actually covered in some traffic buildups. Over here, as shown by the orange spots and the red spots, definitely there is a traffic hiccup, so you shouldn't be surprised. It shouldn't take you on because you don't or you did not expect it. But for the rest of the road, for the biggest part of Gaba Road, at least as you're headed towards Kansanga, it shouldn't be a problem for you to navigate this morning because it is quite free and we are seeing less and less traffic on that specific road. Now, switching to Bukasa Road. Bukasa Road is actually also quite a free one this morning. Of course, a few spots here and there. For example, this very specific spot, and this one here, we're seeing some traffic buildups over there. But again, they're not really covering up the longest stretch on this specific road, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. As you're headed, of course, to Namongo, the road starts to become quite busier by the minute. Over here, shown by the red spot, the traffic is actually quite heavy in this very moment. Whatever is happening there, it's something that is worth your recognition, and you also need to expect it if you're using that road at this given moment. However, for some other parts, the traffic is just starting to build up, as shown by, again, these orange spots as you're headed, of course, towards the city center. Namongo is a bit busy, and there we're looking at Barnabas Road also being quite busy this morning, as shown by the orange and red stretches on this same exact road. So you need to expect that. And of course, as you're going on all the way headed to the city center via Namgongo Road, it shouldn't be a big problem, of course, until you get to the industrial area. And of course, trying to join the access road, the red spot here is definitely showing you that the traffic over here in this given moment and this given spot is also quite very heavy. The red is quite dominant, and also some oranges are really being visible at this moment. So the traffic buildup could not get any worse. Of course, as you're getting to the main road, that is the Kampala Jinja Road over there, which is very busy, especially for the people who are using it to access town, and portrayed, of course, by these arrows. The traffic buildup is over there, so you need to expect it. For the rest of the main road, I could say it actually has quite a number of busy spots this morning. So if you're coming in from areas of Nsambia, coming in from Makindye, coming in from Bukasa, you know, coming in from Kansanga, coming in from you know, using Gaba Road to get to the city center, well, those are your expectations this morning, so it shouldn't really come to you as a surprise. Come ready, have plan B. Bad from what I'm seeing for now, it shouldn't be a problem, but again, traffic builds up any minute. It could be a minute from now, 30 minutes from now, an hour. So yeah, expect anything. Well, that's it from the traffic updates. And now on to weather. I don't know what we're looking at. Mollen, I don't know. The weather, is it going to be raining? Is it going to be shining? Again, could we be having a few, rains to console us? Because yesterday you did tell us that the heat is going to come in until I think about September or August.
Yeah,
yes. So, but
right.
we're expecting a few rains here and there, you know, just to console us. What
Yeah,
are we
so-
looking at?
Well, obviously, we're still dealing with the heat, and of course, that means that we are still experiencing dry weather. There are a little bit of rains that come through, but of course, those are not enough to sustain any activity if anyone needed the rains for that. So, Philomena, I'll tell you one thing. We're still going to be dealing with most of these dry conditions, that's for sure.
Well, that's it from the traffic updates. I'm now going to leave you with Mollen to tell us more about this unhappy news.
Yeah, of course, that is not good news. And of course, we'll be diving into what we're expecting for today. That will be later on. First of all, let's take a look at what is happening internationally in terms of looking at climate news. And we're still going to continue on the story of the heat waves and, of course, the rising temperatures across the world. And so far, what we do know is that after the second warmest June on record, Western Europe is bracing for its second dangerous heat wave of the summer. Now, so far, the UK, Portugal, Spain, and France are facing record-breaking temperatures this week, with a little relief in sight, because all the forecasts that are coming out are indicative of more dangerous, temperatures rising. Now, from the image, if you can see the image on the screen, where you see the red colors, that is indicative of temperatures shooting that is even beyond 40 degrees. That is looked at, and of course, they are looking at southwestern Europe being one of those areas that could be looking at level 3 heat alerts. Already, we do know that an amber alert has been issued across most areas where we are seeing these temperatures expected to rise. Yesterday, we were covering that story from the UK, having given an amber alert for temperatures expected to be rising. And of course, that prompts a lot, especially when it comes to health issues and, of course, evacuations for places that might not be able to hold with the heat. Now, so far in place, we do have 14 states within Portugal and in eastern Spain throughout the end of the week that are expected to be having these soaring temperatures. Now, that means that obviously we might be seeing most of these warnings across these areas. Now, amber extreme heat alert comes in as we look at most of these temperatures, and this has only been issued twice. So you can look at the extent of how much this is posing, even to going to the extent of breaking records, and obviously talking about the second warmest June on record for Western Europe. And looking at all those areas are still so far expected to have temperatures rising even as we talk about the end of the week. But also, scientists have related this to climate change, knowing that all these variations have come across with frequency. We're seeing heat wave after heat wave, temperatures rising. Most of those are indicators that our climate is changing. And of course, we do know that the biggest contributors to climate change have been human activities. We are the ones contributing to all this crisis. And obviously, we do know that the biggest contributors to these greenhouse gas emissions, obviously, that have been driving the climate change crisis. Now, research that just came out does indicate that two of the biggest contributors to climate change, obviously in terms of emissions, China and the US, so far they have given developing nations a scientific basis for their legal action against the US and China for climate damages. Well, that is what researchers are saying. And of course, researchers in a new study have also put actual dollar figures on economic harm caused by the countries most responsible for climate crisis. Obviously, on groundbreaking data could serve as a starting point for legal action against the world's wealthiest nations. We're talking about China and the US. Yes, they have been mostly contributing to this this crisis that we have at hand. Obviously, the United States, China, Russia, India, and Brazil caused around a 6 trillion loss in gross domestic product from 1990 to 2014, and that is according to research. That is a percentage which is 11% of the global global domestic products over the years. And obviously that is something that researchers are saying, well, look, these are the figures, and of course it can be grounds for legal action. But now the question is, who is taking on this action for economic loss? Obviously, we do know that most of these countries can't get away with this, especially the fact that they put a lot of money in the projects that they are doing in all the industrialization that is going across. But the study's authors are saying that for the first time, scientists have been connecting the dots between one country's fossil fuel emissions and the economic harm those emissions have done to the other countries. Now, someone should be paying for this. And now they have even given you percentages of how far these countries have been contributing to the damages. And obviously, top in the lead is the US, which is contributing 16.52%. And that is followed by China at 15.84%. Russia comes in third at 8.54%, meaning that these are the countries that are contributing to these emissions, even when most of the vulnerable countries or developing nations, I would put Uganda in that, we are dealing with extreme weather events, right from the drought crisis that has in turn threatened food security, looking at floods, looking at landslides. All these are connected to the changes in climate, but we do know that it's a global world. We have the same atmosphere. So whatever is being done in the US or China to increase the emissions in the atmosphere, meaning that these are still going to trap the heat, which is going to disrupt with our weather and climate conditions here. So obviously someone should be paying for this. And I think this research comes at a good time that we are even free to have a legal basis, because there are some of the climate pacts that they have signed. These two countries are part of, for example, the Paris Agreement that came across in 2015, that was in Paris, France. They are part of that agreement. And of course, they also agreed to be, contributing to climate action, which they are not doing at this point. Also, last year's Glasgow Pact, they are part of that. And obviously, they are answerable to most of these when they come across. Now, if we talk about extreme weather events, there are countries that have been hit most. And of course, recently is Pakistan. For over 5 days now, they're dealing with extreme weather events in terms of landslides and flooding. And what we do know is that so far, a lot of it is connected to the financial capacity that is across Karachi, Pakistan. Now, torrential rains caused widespread flooding and damages in Pakistan's financial capital, that is Karachi. That was on Monday, but this has also continued into Tuesday, and still the forecasts are indicating that there could be more rains over the area. Now, according to the chief minister also for the province, for the southern province in Pakistan, he's saying that these are unprecedented millimeters of rainfall, looking at 126 millimeters of rain falling in 3 hours. That could amount to rains that would be expected maybe within 3 days for one area, but this was falling in just 3 hours, and obviously that related to all the flooding within the city. And so far, 1 death has been confirmed in the latest spell of the monsoon rains, adding to the 29 that were reported earlier at the beginning of the month, meaning that this flooding has been continuous over the area. And obviously now authorities are looking at the fact that this could be something that they get used to even in the next coming monsoon season, because each flooding that comes across whenever there are monsoon rains seems to be having more of breaking the record of the past, meaning that there could be looking at more of these variations coming across for most of these areas that are dealing with extreme weather events. And of course, Pakistan is not alone. We have seen that India has also been one of those countries dealing with flooding, especially when we're talking about monsoon rains. These are the main drivers of all these extreme events across the area, and obviously also having been linked to the climate variations, which is why you continue to pause for climate action. And you see all these negotiations going across, you see all these pacts coming up. But again, what is more evident is what we're not doing, and of course the effects of that. We are going to be feeling that. Just recently we were covering a story on what is happening in Somalia, the drought crisis over there that has posed a lot in terms of food insecurity. And this morning in the newsreel discussion, you had when we were talking about the famine crisis in the country, especially across Karamoja. These are some of the areas that have continuously been dealing with, bad weather. I will say that because when the area is dry, even if you provide enough farming, facilities, it won't be sustainable if the seasons are not performing, and that is how we got there. But also more to that is the fact that we never really take care of the adaptation. How shall we cope with this changing weather? And of course, when we're talking about extreme weather events, there is a lot to also uncover. We have been seeing wildfires raging across the world, and of course this has taken on a combination of the heat waves and the wildfires. Obviously, what I talked about earlier with Portugal and Spain being already on alert for more heat waves coming through. Now that has also been associated with the wildfires. Now yesterday, several wildfires swept across Portugal's central region, forcing evacuations still of hundreds of locals as firefighters struggled to put out flames at the time. And that was obviously with temperatures going above 40 degrees Celsius in many parts, and a major wildfire that was also seen on Tuesday, that is in Lisbon, that was reignited again due to strong winds. So there is a lot happening across the world, especially when we're talking about extreme weather events, and that is why we continue to say, look, it's not good to talk about the bad news. And personally, I don't want to be the bearer of all this bad news of what is happening. Obviously, it's associated with death, destruction. We're looking at evacuations, people losing their homes, and now talking about the famine that is associated with dry weather and drought crisis. That cannot be good, and no one wants to talk about weather like that. But well, let's talk about what is happening across the country for this morning. We'll be tapping in from our satellites that will be over Uganda, looking into what we're expecting for this morning. And this is real-time information of what is happening across the country, looking like we might be dealing with mostly dry weather across the country for this morning. We have mostly sunny weather across northern Uganda. Of course, that is stretching all the way up to the eastern part of the country. We're seeing mostly also northwestern Uganda across Yumbe, Arua, across Nebi, dealing with mostly sunny weather. Moving on to central northern Uganda, Kitgum Padel, also a lot of sun over there. Crossing over to Karamoja, looking at Moroto, Amudat, Napak with a sunny morning. That crosses over to Soroti, Amuria, but we do have a little bit of clouds starting to develop over areas of Soroti and Palisa right there. That will be bringing in at least a mix of clouds and sunshine, but nothing to say much about the rains. So it looks like it could be another day for us to be having mostly a mix of clouds and sunshine. There are a little bit of clouds that are starting to develop. That is across the eastern parts of Lake Victoria towards areas of Jinja and Tororo. We could be looking at a little bit of rains, but also those will be quite few across just a few areas. Nothing much to ruin your day, but also nothing much to also keep those temperatures down, because it looks like temperatures have been going up. And we're also looking at another sunny day across southwestern Uganda, talking about areas of Mbarara, Fort Poto, Mubende, Masaka. We could be looking at much more of that. And also a much bigger view coming in from our satellites. We're looking at most of those dry conditions actually continuing throughout the day. We could be dealing with most of those dry conditions for most of today. However, areas across central northern Uganda could be looking at a little bit of rains coming in later in the afternoon. Also across Mount Elgon Highlands, we're talking about areas of Mbale, across Bududa right there, indicating in those light blue colors. That means that we could be having a few of those rains coming through. Otherwise, the rest of the country that is indicated in white colors, we are going to be dealing with most of that mixture of clouds and sun for mostly today. And of course, that means that temperatures are going to remain equally high. But it's quite a chilly morning across Lake Victoria. Of course, that brings in the effect of Lake Victoria, that brings in mostly those chilly conditions. However, even when we're dealing with that, we don't see the rains in the forecast. That means that only a few areas across Mount Elgon, also being locally influenced, by the way. You do find that Mount Elgon does influence a lot of weather conditions over there. And northern Uganda obviously coming in with part of those rain-bearing clouds also falling over that area. Well, that is it in terms of weather for this morning. I will be handing you over to Good Morning Uganda. Agenda Robert will be here to take you through that. But also, as we look at Oregon 2022, Ruben will be here to take you through most of the sports highlights, as Uganda is getting really with a lot of hopes in sport. But he will be here to take you through that. Don't sit later than that. We'll be having Good Morning Uganda Extra by Jagenda Semakula. My name is Mollen Kenyena. I want to wish you a wonderful day.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest party of 2022 is here! UBC West MP Kahona launches its Mbarora station on Goat Road in Mbarora City with your favorite entertainer, Echitimbulecha UBC West on 23rd July 2022 at Mbarora University Inn. People of Ankole, Chisoro, Tigezi, Toro, Bunyoro, Rwenzori and all parts of Uganda. Do not miss your cocktail fun with UBC West presenters, listeners and supporters. Come be part of the 2022 biggest party in the land. With top artists, comedians, cultural dancers and ODs, women cyclists in the cycling competition, sports activities and many more from Western and Central Uganda at only 10,000 shillings. Don't miss the annual crowd puller of UBC West MP Kahona, and that is Echitimbure Reikunga. Proudly powered by Pepsi Cola, Delight Solar, and UBC.
For sponsorship and partnership, call 0700-236-415 or 0782-265-827. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
You can only become a leader when there are problems.
Behind the headlines.
So what are we federating?
Whether rats from another country can be, somebody must be there to hold everybody accountable.
Every Wednesday at 10 p.m.
First of all, we as elites of Uganda we have made Museveni the issue. I can tell Museveni is not the problem of Uganda. The problems of Uganda are much deeper. We can change the next 20 presidents and we'll still be this roundabout.
Was brought to you by
Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
We bring you a fresh, well-researched program to help you identify opportunities for investment, job creation, growing your entrepreneurial skills, wealth creation, and social transformation.
We have a product that is ready for schools, supermarkets.
Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Every week, we showcase opportunities for creating new products and services.
I now harvest a lot of cocoa. When I harvest it, I sell. After selling, I put money in my project. I have 2 projects. 1 is for construction of my house, 2 is for educating my children.
Excellence in innovation, the passion and drive to succeed, and the right mindset to grow your business. Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Brought to you by Operation Wealth Creation.
Football packages, great entertainment, sports, telenovela, the movies. There is something for everybody. Go TV, this is where great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Uganda shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Beans are a common source of protein in many parts of the world. Uh-oh, did Anna and Jonathan have a cooking accident?
Jonathan, congratulations on getting the Employee of the Month award. That is awesome.
What are you talking about?
Oh no, I think I just spilled the beans. Forget I said anything.
Wait. You said award. I'm getting an award. I'm getting an award.
If you spill the beans, you tell someone something before you were supposed to. Usually it's an innocent mistake. But even though no food actually spills, spilling the beans can sometimes lead to a messy situation. And that's English in a Minute.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking, to the taste of food that takes you on a journey, in the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Of July 2022. Good morning, Uganda, and thank you for joining us again for this yet wonderful segment, the GMU Agenda. My name is Philomena Mastiko, and I do have a special guest with me in here who's going to be helping me out for the most part of it in regards to the conversation we're going to be having. Please, I would really love you to meet the gentleman by my side, Mr. Stephen Mukisa. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
I'm very happy to have you here. Now, this great man you're seeing is actually a skin specialist. And when you hear things like skin specialist, definitely there is a lot that comes to mind. You know, at least for one thing that I know we all agree, for everyone out there watching, yourself, myself, you know, Mr. Mukisa over here, is that we all need to look and take care of ourselves. Both mentally and physically. And if there is anything that does not shun from revealing how well we're doing, could be inwards, could be outwards, that is the skin. Now the skin is the largest organ in our bodies, And of course, being that, it definitely demands that we give it the attention it deserves. But with all that said, you know, once in a while, as a human being, we forget to show it the love it deserves, the attention it deserves. And I will tell you that there are certain things, the outcomes, the aftermath of this is quite evident. Well, lucky for you this morning, I do have Mr. Stephen Mokisa, who is here to help us learn all these things, how we are going to go up and about them, you know, what are you doing wrong with your skin. Good morning, and thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Skin is quite one of the hardest topics and one of the most, I don't know whether complicated or maybe because we are laid back when it comes to looking after our skin. But I'm glad that you're here because we are having that conversation about proper dermatologic care. And maybe to just start things off, what do you mean by proper dermatologic care?
First of all, proper dermatologic care. Dermatology, derma actually means skin because the skin is made up of a number of different parts, and then the dermis is one of the parts of the skin that we put a lot of emphasis on. So when they talk about dermatology, it's actually that study of that dermis and all the things that affect that dermis and all the things that affect it and the disease and the disorders that affect the dermis. So basically, dermatological care, it means that you have to be able to take care of your skin.
Yes.
Whatever problem the skin may have, you're able to take care of it. The skin has so many disorders and diseases that could happen, but I mostly specialize mostly in things to do with problem skin.
Yes.
Yeah, problem skin includes acne and the secondary infections that come with acne, things like the scars, the troughs, the spots, blemishes, things like melasma. Melasma is a disorder that happens to the melanosome cells, especially when the skin is hit by the sun uncontrollably. That's why it's very important for you to wear SPF, to wear sunscreen.
Oh, yes.
Okay, most people think they're black, they can't wear sunscreen, and they don't burn because they're not muzungu.
Yes.
But definitely, most people actually burn from the sun. Even if you're black, you still burn from the sun. So it's very important for you to wear some sunscreen.
Yes.
We also do a number of things like, you know, we're in a very ageless generation. No one is supposed to age.
Yes.
You know?
You're not supposed to look like you're...
Yes, grow old, but you're not supposed to age.
Yes.
So basically, there are a number of things that are in the industry, in the cosmetic, I would call it cosmetic dermatology industry, or, you know, which allow you not to age. Things like collagen replacement therapy, things like, you know, there's so many things that can be done to make sure the skin always looks good and you're not allowed to age. The wrinkles shouldn't be there, the spots, the blemishes, you know,
yes,
you shouldn't be aging. The technology alone that we have in the industry doesn't allow you to age.
Well, we'll be having quite a lot of conversations, of course. We'll have to talk about that sunscreen, you know, and I mean, the conversations I've had, or I don't know if I should call them the stereotypes I've had from my fellow black people about sunscreen, the SPF, we'll all be talking about it, but also the collagen replacement therapy, which is also very key. We'll be talking about it later on. But you did make mention of acne. Now, this is quite one of the biggest problems that we have. Very many people have faced, you know, I've seen we have done quite a lot of things to make sure we get rid of acne, but we don't understand what acne is, you know, what's the best way we can fight it. So maybe let's start from there. What is acne?
To be able to understand acne, acne is something that most people would definitely, it has a street name. Its street name is pimples.
Pimples.
You know?
Oh, yes,
pimples. Yeah, you're going to say, you're going to say, oh,
or
pimples.
Mbalabe, you know,
exactly, Mbalabe, pimples, you know.
Yes.
What else do they call it? There's another name for it. Anyway, acne has a number of different names, and actually what causes acne is a bacteria called the acne vulgaris bacteria, and that bacteria, it feeds on sebum, it feeds on oil. What you see on your skin, the oil is the sebum, and that's what the acne vulgaris bacteria feeds on. Now, what happens exactly is that the acne vulgaris bacteria feeds on the sebum, and then just the same way you eat and then you go to the toilet, you eat, and so when it eats the sebum, it secretes a toxin. That toxin makes the sebum to rot. Because remember, the acne vulgaris bacteria is a pus-forming bacteria, okay? So when the sebum turns into pus, okay, wherever the pus is, it could be off your skin. If you're unlucky and then the pus is inside the pore, then the pore is going to react with a bump.
Yes.
That bump that you see, and it's going to look like, you know, it's ready to pinch, ready to take away.
Yes.
But it's actually not a very good idea for you to start pinching the acne. You don't pinch acne, you don't scrub the acne area, you don't, most people say, oh, we need to do the extraction.
Yes.
Extraction is not done for acne. Extraction is done for blackheads. And these days in 2022, you don't extract blackheads. There are other ways, scientific ways in which you can get rid of blackheads without actually doing the extraction.
Yes.
Yeah, extraction is very, very old school. You can't do that kind of extraction. Yeah, the reason why you don't do that is mainly because with acne, once the pus that is inside that pore has thousands of bacteria that cause acne. Okay?
Yes.
So whenever you pinch one, you get 2 new ones where you pinched one. You pinch 2, you get 4 new ones where you pinched one. You
So it
pinch
doubles
5,
up.
so it keeps doubling up. That means that it's very easy for you to come from a skin that is completely clear without any acne at all,
Yes.
to a skin full of acne. Why? Because you're spreading the acne by yourself. Okay, every time you try to pinch, you pinch one side of the cheek, and then you start looking for it. So you pinch one side of the cheek, you spread, you have 2 new ones. Then you start looking for more this other side. So what you're doing is you're spreading the acne from one side of the cheek to the next one. And then you start looking for it on the forehead and all those things.
Yes.
And then remember, most people can't keep their hands off their faces. Probably the fact that we got corona helped us
The fact
learn
that
to
we have
keep
to
our
wear
hands.
masks
Exactly.
and then probably wash our hands every now and then.
Yes. It created so many very nice habits for people, whereby people stopped touching their faces that much because you have to wear a mask. You have to, you know, because one of the things that actually spread the acne all over the face is you having to touch. You touch one area of the face, you've touched the door handles, you've touched money, you've touched things, and you're touching your face. So I keep telling my people, please don't touch your face. Please don't pinch. Please don't scrub, you know?
Yes.
Because if you do that, you would have prevented the acne. You know, the acne, it's caused by a staphylococci bacteria. That kind of bacteria doesn't have flagella, doesn't move by itself. You have to move it. You have to move it. So if you pinch, you're moving it.
Yes.
You're moving it. So one of the best ways for you to be able to prevent it, don't touch your face, don't pinch. Usually that acne is going to eat the sebum that is in that particular pore. When that sebum is done, it's going to be self-eliminating. It will go by itself. But there are people who get to a point whereby it has gone from being just a few pimples to an infection.
Yes.
When you get to a point whereby you have that kind of infection, now you're infested with bacteria. You know, you have a whole village of bacteria on one cheek, another village on the other, and then it's crazy. So at that point in time, you're going to use more advanced methods of working on the acne. At that point in time, you're not going to use lemon. You're not going to use honey
Yes.
to, you know, those little
brown
home
sugar
treatments and brown
and all
sugar and
that,
all
yes,
that.
yes.
No, 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 you're not going to do that. Mainly because at that point in time, it's beyond, because it's much deeper into the skin. When it's still on top, you know, the skin, the epidermis has about 5 layers.
Okay.
So it could be much, much deeper than what those other things can do. At that point, that's when you have to come and see me.
Well, now that we've established what acne is and how to prevent it, say now we're in a scenario where you already have it. What would be the ideal way? What is the treatment? Because let me tell you, I have had all kinds of treatment. People have been telling me things, people have been sharing things, and sometimes you have questions. You're wondering, this does not really even sound right. But what would be the ideal format of treatment?
There are lots of treatments for acne, and they're all over everywhere on the internet. You know, you have the benzoyl peroxide, the salicylic acid, the retinol, the clindamycin, the sulfur. There's so many treatments for acne. Just like you could have all the numbers from 0 up to 9, but without the right combination, you can never put airtime in your phone. You can't get money from the ATM. So we have all these treatments at our disposal, but knowledge of how to combine, how to combine what and what to get what is very, very important. Mainly because all acne is not the same. There are about 6 different types of acne. There is acne vulgaris, there is cystic acne, comedogenic acne, micropapular acne. There are many different types of acne, okay?
Yes.
Now, knowledge of what you're treating and what to give it is very, very important, okay? You're going to, that's why at our clinic what we do, is we first do a skin scan.
Yes.
Why do we do a skin scan? We do a skin scan mainly because we don't want to guess anymore. Why? You've been guessing all your life. You've been guessing. Your auntie tells you, use this, it worked for me. You try it, it doesn't work. A friend says, use this, it worked for me. It doesn't work. So you end up with a cosmetic, you end up with a dressing table that looks like a mini cosmetic shop. Mainly full of things that you've used and they haven't worked. Okay? So that's why what we do, we first do a skin scan. Okay? A skin scan, it costs very little money, about 30,000. You do a skin scan. After a skin scan, we know exactly what we're dealing with. We also have to make a differential diagnosis. We have to know exactly, you know, is it acne or urticaria? Is it just a rash? We have to know, okay? Because when you come to us, you're going to say, I have acne. You name it. You name it. You name it,
but you do not know how deep it has gone.
Yes,
you don't know what type of
It's just like having your car and then you go to the garage and you so assure, you tell your mechanic, this is the problem of my car. And the mechanic, if it could be a very simple problem, but because you've named your problem, the mechanic could say, okay, let's go ahead and treat that. Then he treats a very minor problem. It could be a fuse that blew. So it's important to do that diagnosis, to make sure that you know exactly what you're dealing with and you give it the right kind of treatment.
Okay. Well, we are talking about proper dermatologic care, of course, with Mr. Mugisa Stephen here, a problem skin specialist. And we've been talking about acne. Now, there is one question also that has always been popping up by quite a number of people. Now, does acne go for different types of skins? Because I've seen oily skins, we've seen people with dry skins, some with both that cut across, you know, both oily and dry. Does it have a specific type of skin that is really prone to acne, or anybody can actually, you know, get acne?
There's a number of different ways in which you can get acne, first of all. And the specific kind of skin that will get acne is the skin that has what acne wants, what the acne vulgaris bacteria eats.
Yes.
If you have sebum, if you have an oily skin, if your sebaceous glands are hyperactive, they produce too much oil, that means you're a candidate for acne. Okay? That means you have enough for the acne to eat. Exactly. You have enough for the acne to eat.
Yes.
And what is going to happen? The moment the bacteria gets a chance to sit on your skin, to get on your, you're going to get it. That's why I keep telling people, all right, you go for that makeup and all that, but you know, that brush is shared among so many people, okay? It's always good to move with your own brushes so that at least when the makeup artist is going to do your makeup, they're going to use something that you own and you've cleaned up by yourself. But imagine they've worked on someone who's gotten some acne on them. So that acne is going to go back, the bacteria is going to go back into the powder.
Yes.
And then it's going to go from the powder to go to another skin that has enough oil for the acne to feed on. So when it gets to that, it's going to flourish. And before you know it, you have a face full of acne. So
and you're
it's
wondering how
and you're wondering
got
how
it.
you got
Yes.
it. And definitely you got it from sharing a brush. Apart from that, there are other things that are going to trigger off the acne. Sometimes it's the diet. Sometimes it's hormonal imbalances. Hormonal imbalances like when you're getting into your menses,
Yes.
yeah, it causes surges in your hormones, and those surges increase the production of sebum, and then you easily get some acne. And then when you're on birth control pills, okay, when you're doing birth control, it's going to cause hormonal surges as well,
Yes.
and you end up with some acne. Sometimes when you're stressed, some people when they're extremely stressed, that stress is going to cause hormones to get imbalanced and they're going to get some acne as well. So basically, there are a number of things that are going to trigger off the acne. So when it's triggered off, the key is to make sure don't get it to over multiply on your
Yes.
skin and then cause a serious infection.
Okay. Well, earlier on, you made mention of collagen replacement therapy. Now, we need to talk about this. First of all, collagen replacement therapy, all this would definitely sound complicated to a layman. So what are we talking about when we make reference to collagen replacement therapy?
When we're doing collagen replacement therapy, basically what we're dealing with is we're finding ways in which to replace collagen. First of all, collagen is the super glue that keeps the skin together, okay? So the skin has fiber, okay? The muscles and all that, but what keeps that together is the collagen. Once your collagen is loose, the wrinkles will come in, you start seeing the lines and all that, the smile lines, you start smiling and the line stays.
Come out.
You frown and the frown stays, you're permanently frowning, mainly because your collagen and elastin cells are very weak. It's like putting on some sock, you know.
Yeah, and with time it loses elasticity.
Yeah, or a hairband. You put on a hairband, and the first time you use it, it's completely tight, very tight. Then probably 2 months down the road, it's very loosened up. That elasticity is part of the collagen. So most people, when that happens to them, you have to find a way in which you bring back that collagen. And one of the things that we have is the microneedling and PRP.
Yes.
Microneedling is PRP and PRP, RF microneedling and PRP. So it depends on how you combine it. Microneedling is basically using extremely very small needles, okay, to create minor injuries onto the skin. When you create minor injuries onto the skin is induced to repair itself. It's induced to produce collagen, it's induced to produce elastin and some protein to repair. So imagine you have a skin that has that is wrinkling, is falling apart. When you do that, it helps the skin to reproduce collagen by itself. Of course, there are other ways in which you can get collagen. You can supplement. Yeah, you can use collagen supplements.
Yes.
They come in powder form, they come in gummies, they come in a number of different forms. You know, it's very important to supplement. Most Ugandans have learned to supplement still because of COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, you found most people learning to take zinc, vitamin C, you know, and then when the COVID went down, most of them stopped. But you're not supposed to stop.
Yes.
You're not supposed to stop. You have to keep supplementing because your diet lacks a number of nutrients. Okay, so going back to collagen, When that collagen is lost, you do the microneedling, and then it induces your skin to produce collagen. So after a session of microneedling, you find your skin looks much better. Okay? Then you can also use radio frequency. Radio frequency is a method which you use to tighten the skin. Remember, it loosens up. So when you use radio frequency, it helps to tighten the skin. And then there is also a method. Another method is called PRP. PRP, you use platelet-rich plasma. How do you get the platelet-rich plasma? You get some blood from you, and then it's put into a centrifuge, turned around, and then the blood sinks, and then that plasma comes up on top. Now that plasma is rich with your DNA.
Yes.
So you use that DNA back onto the skin, and it's used to repair you up.
Oh.
And then the skin goes back to being young. So basically this generation is completely ageless. You cannot age at all.
You're not allowed to age.
You're not allowed to age.
All right. Well, that is the collagen replacement therapy. And mind you, I am with Mr. Mukisa Steven here, a problem skin specialist. We are looking at, you know, how to build an effective skincare routine for clear skin, but also proper dermatologic care. Now, Mr. Mukisa, there are certain things I am pretty sure that we do unknowingly that could be bringing damage to our skins. And, you know, in an era like this where everybody feels like they're skin specialists, whether they're problem skin specialists, everyone has something to say. But, I mean, from your observation, what are some of the things or, you know, procedures or, you know, skincare health routines that you have seen that people are doing and could be very, you know, dangerous to the skin? Because there are people, we really don't know much about this. We see products on the market, we see routines being used by other people, you know, we pick on that kind of behavior. Yes.
First of all, I would like to talk about something that will make sure you visit me less.
Yes.
Yeah, that will make sure that you keep your skin much healthier and you don't have problems. One of them is people pinching. You know, when you pinch your skin, when you pick, pimples from your skin, you spread them.
Somebody told me in relation to that, somebody told me that you actually have to pick that pimple before it fully matures.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing how wrong that is.
Mainly because they look at it not from a bacterial point of view and how the bacteria spreads, because you have to know what you're dealing with and how it spreads all over.
Yes.
Okay. When you pinch it, you make it worse. Temporarily, you're going to have some relief, and it's going to look like, oh, I'm much better right now.
Yes.
Okay? But then, you're going to create a problem that's not going to end. Are we going to treat your face for a year? And, you know, we're not going to. We have so many things to do. We want to treat your skin, finish it, go to something
else,
that's next, you know. We go to microneedling, treat it, finish, go to something else. There are lots of things that you have to do to look good. We're not going to treat your acne for a whole year, treating the same thing over and over again because we are reinfecting. As we are treating, we are reinfecting. When are you going to stop? So basically, pinching, pricking, you know, extraction, well, that makes the skin, you know, not to recover fully. And then the other thing that will happen is that you're going to have those scars, the troughs, those scars that have, you know, you have a very irregular skin.
Yes.
Okay. Then the other thing that's very important is people need to wear sunscreen. They need to learn how to wear sunscreen. Like we talked about in the beginning. Most people believe, oh, I'm black, I don't need sunscreen, I'm an African.
I have the melanin already, yeah, I'm good to go.
We have the melanin, we thank God for that. But you find some places, they have, sometimes the solar index could be very high.
Yes.
If the solar index is high, it means your skin is going to have to produce more melanin to protect you. And when the skin produces more melanin, it means one thing, you're going to darken. Okay?
Yes.
When you darken, it's going to create this hue on your skin that looks very, you're going to lose the glow.
Yes.
Why? Because your melanosome cells are working overtime to protect you. So what you need to do, and then the other thing is that the sun does a lot of damage. Like for instance, the UVA rays of the sun, they cause the wrinkling of the skin, okay? If you wear your sunscreen, it means you won't need the microneedling. Why? The skin hasn't wrinkled at all, okay? The UVA rays cause the wrinkling of the skin, they cause the dryness of the skin. The UVB rays, they cause the burning of the skin. I don't know whether you've seen women who have skins that have burned. You know,
they have the skin is not the same. The complexion is not the same. I don't know how it even affects that.
The burning process goes like this. First of all, the skin is going to redden. It's going to become red, especially for people who have lighter skins. It's going to become red. Okay.
Yes.
For people who have darker skins, it's going to become darker. So while for people with lighter skins, it's going to look red. People with darker skins is going to become darker. Those are the signs of the signs of burning. Okay. After it has burned, then the color is going to come out. It's going to go from red to dark. Then people with darker skins is going to go from dark to more dark. Okay.
Yes.
So all those are signs of burning. And the funny thing is that most people say, I'm in the car, I don't need to wear sunscreen. I'm in the office all the time, I don't need to wear sunscreen. But most people actually confuse sunlight
and sunshine
with sun rays.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The other ones are called ultraviolet burning rays of the sun.
Yes.
They're ultraviolet. They're extremely violet. That means they can penetrate through windows, they can penetrate through car windows, they can bounce off smooth surfaces and get to you and cause damage. So it's important for you to wear sunscreen, whether you're in the car, whether you're in the house, as long as it's daytime.
Yes.
Because you don't know when the sun is going to kiss your skin. You don't know. So you have to wear your sunscreen at all times, as long as it's daytime. Wear your sunscreen, you spend less money on me. Most of these treatments are very, very expensive.
Yes.
So when you wear your sunscreen, I advise people to wear sunscreen. And then sunscreens have a number of different types.
Yes.
Because you have sunscreens in spray form, you have in stick form, you have in lotion form. So you have to find a sunscreen that is suitable. Like for instance, some sunscreens, especially if a sunscreen is meant for Caucasian skin, it's not going to work well on a black skin. Why? Because the Caucasian skin, the sunscreen on a Caucasian skin is designed in a way to promote, to promote the look of a Caucasian skin, of a white skin. Okay? For instance, these days, weather has changed too much. Summer is, summer can come and it's not all sun throughout. Yeah? Most of the times, it's 1 week of sunshine, then it's raining, and you're like, what kind of summer is this? Okay, so they make sunscreens. They make sunscreens that have tan boosters in them. Okay, so that when you're in the sun, you go for 1 hour, you become as dark as you can in a very, very short period of time. Okay, so when you become darker and you're Caucasian, you have a golden brown skin, and you're going to look good for a white person. You're going to look very good. But now imagine a darker skinned person like you and me wears a sunscreen that has tan boosters in it. You're going to wear sunscreen, well, you're protected, but you're going to look darker.
Yes.
That is one other mistake that most people make. They don't understand what kind of sunscreen to wear. Well, you're going to have great habits of wearing sunscreen, but are you wearing the right kind of sunscreen?
Yes.
That is also very important.
Okay.
So,
sunscreen, it shouldn't be a myth. Somebody was asking, can also men wear sunscreen?
Of course.
Yes. It's not only for the ladies. I realized, by the way, that when it comes to skincare, there are few men who are fully involved in it. They leave it to the women as if they don't have skin. And I'm glad you're a man and you're here and you're advocating for it.
Oh, but it has changed. It has changed quite a lot, because I get a lot of men coming to me for a number of skincare routines. And funny enough, my biggest clientele are lawyers by profession.
Yes.
that means, yeah, we should clap for those people.
They've
because
understood the value of having
Exactly.
very beautiful skin and healthy skin.
Exactly. They
Yes.
understand looks very well. So they always come, they know what to do, they come pick up routines, they know how to look good. Basically, I have a number of men who actually take good care of their skins as well.
So to all the men out there who haven't yet, embraced this skincare, you need to. It's just good for everybody. Nobody doesn't want to look good. I mean, healthy skin, when you're glowing, everybody wants to glow, but we all have different circumstances. Now, if I also, just as we are trying to wrap this one up, the jellies that we use every day, could we also say that they probably have an impact on our skins? Maybe they're oily, maybe they're not. Is there an issue with the jellies? Because there are people I know who use jelly Monday to Friday, 365. Yes.
Well, it depends on the kind of jelly that you're using. If you're using, say, a petroleum jelly,
yes,
and your skin agrees with the petroleum jelly, then why not? Petroleum jellies were currently developed. They were previously developed for babies' bums,
yes,
to make sure before Pampers came into being,
the market,
into the market. They used to use nappies, and nappies, you put some petroleum jelly on the bum of a baby so that they don't get that nappy rash. Nappy rash used to come from, the urine and then the heat.
Yes.
In there, the nappies used to be very, very uncomfortable. So that is how a jelly was developed. And it was developed to create a water barrier between the baby's bums and the wet nappies, okay? So it comes to your skin. Now you're using it on your skin, and it's doing exactly the same kind of thing. It's working like a barrier. What it does, it works like a barrier in a way that it's preventing your skin from losing moisture,
yes,
okay, to the atmosphere. The atmosphere picks moisture from you. Yeah, when you're in an office that has AC, the AC still picks moisture from your skin.
Yes.
So most of the times your skin is going to be dry and you won't even know why. But the AC keeps, have you ever wondered why the AC keeps leaking? Like,
oh yes, it keeps leaking.
Yeah, where is this water coming from? That water is picked up from the atmosphere.
Yes.
Okay, just to keep you cool, keep you comfortable. But as it keeps water, the moisture from the atmosphere, it still keeps picking up moisture from your skin as well.
Okay.
When it keeps the moisture from your skin will be dry. So right now, people in offices should be asking, now I know why my skin is dry.
It's very dry
okay?
when you've been exposed to AC for a while. When you come out, you feel the skin actually dehydrated.
Yeah, exactly. So at that point in time, that's when a jelly will come in to work as a moisture barrier to make sure that your skin doesn't lose moisture to the AC.
All right.
The AC in the car too. You still lose moisture to the AC in the car. So basically it's important to wear a jelly. Even if it's not a jelly is a little bit very basic.
Yes.
But you could have a serum, an oil.
Okay.
Yeah, you could use an oil, you could use a serum on top of whatever you're using, on top of a lotion that you're using already.
Yes.
You put an oil on top to make sure you create a barrier on your skin so that your skin doesn't lose moisture easily.
All right. Well, we're coming to the end of this, but before that, I know there are very many people who would really want to locate you. This man here is really spitting quite a lot of wisdom, skin wisdom. So how do we locate you?
Well, if anyone wants some help, I know there are lots of people who have questions. There are lots of people who have, they're wondering, they have their itching questions they want to ask me. Well, when you want to ask me a question, please call my number.
Yes.
These are my office numbers, 0751 346 006 or 0782 346 006. For maybe if I spoke very fast, I will repeat, 0751 346 006 or 0782 346 006. Our clinic is not far away from your offices here. It's at Impala House. Impala House is right opposite KCCA. Yeah, opposite the main gate of KCCA. And you find a clinic, it's written Steve's Skin Clinic. You're going to be able to get to that clinic. First of all, we are going to do a skin scan to find out exactly what the problem of your skin is. We don't want to guess.
Yes.
And then after that, whatever follows, we come up with a plan. We come up with how you're going to fix your skin. At least, even if you're not going to fix your skin, it's nice to know.
Yes.
It's important for you to know exactly what is it. It's very bad to know that you're suffering from something, but you're not sure. You don't know what is it that I'm suffering from. So it's very important for you to know exactly what the problem is. So you come, we do a skin scan, find out exactly what your skin problem is, find out a remedy that's going to fix it, find out the duration of onset of effect. How long is it going to take you to fix this problem?
Yes.
You shouldn't take a whole year to fix one little problem. So we find out exactly how long it's going to take, and then we fix it. You're happy. We love beautiful people. We love people who are happy with their skins. That's what we do. We are problem skin specialists.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mugisa Stephen, for stopping by and sharing this. I will definitely, I can guarantee you, you'll get the people. They will be coming in. Well, we were talking about, you know, skin care, dermatological care. How well do you know your skin? Well, you've had it from the specialist himself. I mean, look after yourself. Wear sunscreen, ladies and gentlemen. Wear sunscreen, and the right one for you. Not any kind can work for you. That's it from today's GMU agenda. We're having Ruben Pima Chibirango come in with the sports updates. Good morning, and have a great and wonderful Wednesday morning. I am Philomena Mastiko. Hopefully, I will see you tomorrow.